Hello and welcome. Today's video is gonna be something that is gonna be very much centered about the Fnaf movie, and it's gonna be a review because where I'm from in Australia, the Fnaf movie had released. It released yesterday and I watched it with my mates and we all had a great time. And in this video, we're gonna go through what I thought of the movie, a quick review. I'm gonna also go through the ending and potentially what's gonna be happening in the future, and also just anything in between. So with that said and done, there is going to be a massive spoiler warning, so if you haven't watched the movie yet, please click off this video, go ahead and watch it, and then come back. So with that, let's get straight into the video. This movie is a mixed bag, because you get a movie that is very much a lot of fan service, which is great, and me and my mates watched this movie. Every single one of us really enjoyed it. This movie isn't the best written movie, and it also isn't the best movie in general, but that's okay because this is not what we wanted as fans. What we wanted is a movie that tells a story about Fnaf, and that is exactly what this movie does. The plot is pretty much whack, but it kind of makes sense for the story Scott is trying to tell. And quick props to Scott, because this movie didn't really actually have to be made. It's just kind of amazing how an indie game became a blockbuster movie. It's just insane how far this franchise has actually come. So really huge props to Scott and everyone behind this movie. It's amazing. Because I can't lie, the animatronics in this film really did feel like they had a personality, and this is something the games showed obviously in glimpses, but in this movie you get the full picture of what's going on with the animatronics, why they act the way they are, and it gives a really solid conclusion to what story Scott is trying to tell, with obviously, and this is the spoiler warning, the William Afton scene. Get this plot down in a nutshell, because I know a lot of you guys really want to know what is happening in this film. Essentially, you have the main character, Mike Smith, who now looks after his sister, Abby Smith. The parents of Mike and Abby broke up, and this was due to Mike's younger brother. I actually forgot the name of the younger brother, but essentially he got kidnapped and was taken by an anonymous person who we end up finding who this person is later on in the movie. The whole plot is pretty much Mike wanting to know who this person is. So Mike would take sleeping pills and kind of lucid dream his way into chipping into these memories he has of the incident. And this is kind of what makes him go back every night to the pizzeria, as it's in the pizzeria where Mike has the most vivid memories of the incident. So he keeps on coming back, and this is kind of the main reason why the events happen the way they do. Another main driving factor of the film is Mike and his aunt, and they are practically battling on who should take custody of Abby. It's through this battle of custody which ends up forcing Mike to work at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, as first of all, working will make his name look better when it comes to court, and also he needs to provide for his family. So that's exactly what he does, and he ends up working the night shift at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. In this pizzeria, Mike feels a really strong connection to his brother. During the nights, the dead spirits of the kids end up communicating to Mike through his dream, and they offer him a chance to find out who this person was. The animatronics themselves end up actually wanting to be friends with Abby, although it seems this is an attempt to lure Abby, and we find out later on the true meaning in why they want Abby so much. There's also a side character called Vanessa, who I believe is a redoing of the character from Security Breach, and there is a massive plot reveal on who she actually is, and we're gonna get to that a little bit later. This Vanessa character gives Mike a bunch of info about the pizzeria, and it ends up becoming a little bit suspicious as she shows Mike the parts and service room, a room with a baby animatronic, which she informs Mike about the spring lock mechanism, which is a bit suspicious, as how would she know about this spring lock when she works as a police officer? At the end of night 4, Vanessa informs Mike and Abby that they should never return to the pizzeria, And before you ask, the reason why Abby is in the pizzeria with Mike is, first of all, Mike has no other babysitters to call, as the one they had kind of got chomped. And the other reason is Abby actually is able to commune to the dead spirits of the kids, which means she can unveil the truth on who stole Mike's younger brother. So Vanessa says don't come back to this place and very much threatens Mike in shooting him if he ever returns. Mike, being the determined person he is, returns the next day and overdoses on sleeping pills. In Mike's dream, the kids give Mike an offer. If he gives Abby to them, they will give him the information on who stole his younger brother. Mike accepts this offer, however, soon regrets it and makes it clear to the animatronics he doesn't want this deal to go through. The animatronics get pretty angry and they start completely slashing at Mike, and Mike then wakes up and he's now being in a Freddy Fazbear torture machine, it seems. Somehow Mike escapes and then completely runs for his life, where soon he finds Foxy in a dark hallway. Mike is screwed until the door behind him magically opens, and then it cuts till we find out that Vanessa was the one that saved Mike, and she informs Mike on why he shouldn't have come back. She also gives Mike huge information on what went down in the pizzeria. Vanessa also tells Mike on who she is and why she knows what she knows. She tells Mike she is the daughter of William Afton. She tells Mike that his sister is right now in great danger, as the souls of the kids are being controlled mainly by William Afton, and she explains how the animatronics and William Afton want Abby to be like them. So she gives Mike a few weapons to defend himself against the final battle with the animatronics and William Afton. She then gives Mike the keys to her car, then Mike midnight murders his way all the way back to the pizzeria, where the final battle begins. The animatronics had already grabbed Abby from her house, and they did this by renting a taxi. Yeah, I'm not joking. And Corey Kenshin is driving the taxi, which is, I mean, it's amazing. So Mike is against the clock, as the animatronics are soon going to make Abby like them. Mike isn't playing around. He immediately grabs a bucket of water and chucks it at the animatronics, then grabbing a taser and shooting the water, which makes Freddy and Bonnie no longer a threat. Mike then rushes all the way down to Chica, who has Abby hostage. Mike immediately tases Chica, and at this point Mike and Abby are back together. However, the main man has entered the pizzeria. Mike and Abby run for their lives in the dark corridors of the pizzeria until eventually Carl the Cupcake chases after Mike and grabs his leg. Mike yells, "Run, Abby," and at this point the animatronics seem like they are going to win. Mike kicks the cupcake and tases it, which seems to deactivate it, and runs after Abby, who is being pursued by Foxy. Mike rushes his way to the dining area, where he's stopped by a lurking William Afton. This reveal was absolutely insane, and immediately William Afton isn't playing around. He punches Mike, which sends Mike absolutely flying. He then scolds Mike for the failure of keeping his brother safe, and we find out that it was the one and only William Afton who took Mike's brother. He says how he took his brother and now he will take him, and as soon as the knife comes out, Vanessa comes back and shoots William Afton. William is pissed and starts to walk toward Vanessa, telling her she had one job and that she had failed. William then grabs his knife and plunges it straight into Vanessa's stomach, rendering her unconscious. Mike then comes to the realization the reason why the animatronics are being controlled by William is because of the pictures on the wall, showing them that the bunny is a good guy, where in reality the bunny is what cost them their lives. Abby grabs the picture which showed what truly happened. She then goes toward the wall and rips off the painting of the happy bunny and puts the picture of the true Freddy's incident. The animatronics stop. They look at the picture and then they walk toward William, angry and hell-bent on revenge for the one who took their lives. William knows that this is it. He tells them that they were mistakes, and he lets them know that he still is much more powerful than them. And then it happens. The spring lock closes and shuts on William, and he is impaled through the stomach. He grunts in pain and realizes the terrible situation he finds himself in. He knows that he is forever attached to this animatronic, so he says his infamous line, "He always comes back." He grabs the helmet and he puts it on his head. As the metal mechanisms plunge further into his body, the animatronics take him, and that is the last time we see William. The whole pizzeria begins to collapse as the angry spirits of the animatronics completely destroy the pizzeria. Mike, Abby, and Vanessa escape, and the last time we see William is further into the back rooms where he sits there for eternity. So that is the plot of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. As a fan, I couldn't be more delighted. It really does do a great retelling of the older games, and I know it's not the most well-written story ever, but this movie really didn't have to be the best written story ever. It simply just had to show the William Afton story, and it did that pretty well. The movie had a few moments which made me feel like a kid again, and I'm gonna be honest, not many movies or kind of forms of media in general make me feel like a kid again. So in that regard, the movie absolutely nailed the fan service part of a movie, I guess. Some problems I have with the movie kind of stem down to obviously the writing. Sometimes you can tell that it's Scott kind of making the calls, and it's not like terrible. Like, I wouldn't obviously like bash on it and say that it's a bad script, but there are some times where you kind of feel like it's just messy and the plot just kind of goes in its own direction. But that's exactly what FNAF is about. The older games had no plot, and it's kind of the little things which turn into more larger things, and that's what FNAF is. It's a mystery horror, and the mystery part is what this movie kind of caves in on, and it's something that I feel like for the movies going onwards, it should focus on the same thing. This movie has some characters like the babysitter, who really isn't a developed character, and that's the thing. If you're looking for a movie which is focused on characters and character development, like, this movie obviously isn't gonna have that. It's just a real mystery which kind of stems down to, I'd say, 4 characters. You've got obviously William Afton, Vanessa, Mike, and Abby. The rest are kind of like pawns in the much larger story which is being told, and I feel like it's okay, but characters like the babysitter, of course, don't really have any like character moments. She's kind of just like the betrayer of Mike, who ends up working with the auntie, who is kind of like this evil person who just only wants Abby for the money he would get from the support services. I mean, for the overall plot, they're kind of there to force Abby into going into the pizzeria, because obviously the babysitter doesn't really make it past the second night. She gets chomped, and the auntie is kind of like the main reason why Mike needs to work at the pizzeria. The ending itself is pretty good. Now, obviously, every fan wanted a more brutal Springlock scene, and you know, it is a PG rated movie, and where I'm from, for some reason, it says it's M rated, so if it's M rated or PG rated, it kind of doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's not MA15+. So we can't get a super gruesome Springlock scene. A lot of it was shown with the suit on. You obviously got the part where the Springlocks first cave in on William's stomach, which is cool, but I just wish they showed a more brutal and more realistic version of the Springlock, and the way it's described in the comics and in the game, the Springlock scene is a lot more visualized, and it's something that I don't really say is kind of like movie breaking, but it's something that I feel like if they'd made it a little bit more gruesome, I think fans would have been a little bit more pleased, but what we got was good enough. And then you've got your cameos. You've got Corey Kenshin, you've got obviously the YouTubers that are in the Employee of the Month at the pizzeria or the pictures, and then you've got MatPat, who makes a really short cameo, but my god, when he was shown, my whole cinema went absolutely ballistic, and it's just saying something how vital these YouTubers are, and it really did bring the community together, I feel, during the movie. This movie is one for the fans, and I really feel it did exactly what I feel a lot of us wanted it to be. Just a really fun movie that shows the beginning of Springtrap, and that's what we got. And then the end credits, and I think no one was expecting this, but at the same time everyone was expecting this. The Living Tombstone. My god, it was insane. When I heard that first like sound it makes in the song, when I heard that sound, I completely shut down. I'm like, they actually did it. And I feel like a lot of people are gonna be shocked, but then at the same time, we knew that this song was gonna be in the movie. It's literally the song of Fnaf, and it was in the end credits. My god, it was insane. So yeah, as much as the writing was a bit questionable sometimes, the film itself was just great for a Fnaf fan, and I really do feel like the Fnaf movies are really on the right step. As long as the writing doesn't go too crazy, I feel like we are in for a really good trilogy of movies. And I can't wait for the prequel Fnaf 2 to be hopefully released in cinemas very soon. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have enjoyed, then please smash a like, and until next time, see you later.